We begin tonight at 6 o'clock with big changes for Hoosiers who receive Medicaid benefits and use a plan called MDWise to manage those benefits.
So come the first of the new year, the state is going to drop its contract with that company, MedWise. So 13 News State House reporter Emily Longnecker explains what it could mean for the 300,000 Hoosiers who right now are on that plan.
If you use MDWise to manage your Medicaid benefits in Indiana, by January 1st, you'll have to choose another company for the job. The three choices you have: Anthem, CareSource, or Managed Health Services.
If anyone that is on MDWise right now, they're going to receive a letter from us, but even if they decide to do nothing at all, they're going to be auto-enrolled into a plan that's nearly identical to their own.
The Family and Social Services Administration, the state agency that runs Medicaid, announced the change this week, saying it was time to part ways with MDWise.
So we looked at their quality ratings, and they were consistently the lowest quality managed care entity. And we also looked at costs, and they came in consistently higher costs.
FSSA could not say how much the state expected to save ending its contract with the company. The decision to cut the plan comes as the Braun administration has sought ways to curb the growing cost of Medicaid programs to the state. MDWise says they've provided services to Indiana for over 30 years and pushed back on FSSA's allegations about the quality of their care and its cost.
In all of our asks to FSSA, we have yet to see anything that substantiates low quality, high cost. They haven't given us any data, provided us any expanded information.
MDWise says a January 1st cutoff doesn't give plan members enough time, especially if their doctors are not part of one of the other remaining plans.
As our members move, they might have to choose another provider, or in order for the next MCE to get that provider into their network, they're going to have to go through a credentialing process. And that process it does take time for those changes and switches to occur.
FSSA said they don't expect that to be a problem for providers who might consider joining other plans.
I'm sure right now they're evaluating based off of the information that we're announcing now, whether or not they want to be members of other plans.
MDWise has asked the courts to step in and review their contract with the state.
Thank you, Emily. They've also asked the federal government to look at FSSA's decision to give their members and employees more time for this transition to happen.
Tonight at 6, there are growing tributes for Delaware County Sheriff's Corporal Blake Reynolds, who was killed in the line of duty.
His death just yesterday morning continues to impact just not that community, but also his fellow officers. So Indy FOP deployed their active response kit, and they did so just hours after that tragic crash.
It's helping them provide food, support, and a place to relax for deputies already back on the shift. They say it's also to support those still processing the death of their fellow deputy.
They're back to work today. You know, I mean, they still have to get out there. They have a job to do, and they all know that. They raised their hand to swear an oath, and they're back out there serving and protecting the community.
Funeral arrangements for Corporal Reynolds are still being worked out. In the meantime, Indiana State Police would not provide an update on that crash investigation. In Hendricks County Circuit Court today, the jury should begin deliberations tomorrow in the murder trial of a Missouri man who's charged with killing an Indiana State Trooper. Our Rich Knight tonight brings us the testimony on this crash investigation.
A state police crash reconstructionist reviewed video, data from the stolen car, and evidence at the crash scene from June 2023. We're freezing this video just before Eddie Jones turned right in a stolen car and struck and killed Trooper Aaron Smith as he tried to deploy stop sticks. The crash investigation report says the accelerator was pushed to the floor 2 seconds before impact. Then Jones hit the brakes. The defense is trying to show that this is not murder. His attorneys say that Jones slammed on the brakes and tried to avoid Trooper Smith. But crash reconstructionist Lieutenant Tyler Utterback told the jury there's no evidence of a countersteer to avoid Trooper Smith. The defense argues that Trooper Smith stepped into the road in the same second that Jones turned the car toward the I-70 entrance. Trooper Smith was 33 years old. His widow and many family members are attending the trial, along with the former state police superintendent.
Aaron was pretty darn special to me, and he was one of those guys that he had so much to offer, and he really rose above during the period of time that I had him.
If the jury finds Jones guilty of murder, the prosecutor is seeking a life sentence without parole. In Danville, Rich Knight, 13 News.
A few more clouds entering the picture right now. We can see those from our camera in Bainbridge, where it's 55 degrees. The lights on Cartersville 43, Bunker Hill a few clouds, and currently 51 degrees. We'll be close to 50 for the next hour or so and then drop through the 40s under mainly clear skies. So jacket weather for the early part of tomorrow, and then you won't tomorrow afternoon. Need that heavier coat. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 60s. Still expecting low 70s on Saturday.
Thanks, Angela. Crews right now say they're making strides towards wrapping up and finishing that Henry Street Bridge project.
And they just wrapped up a year-long part of this project. Our Ella Rhodes joins us live tonight. She's at the construction site on Kentucky Avenue and Henry Street.
So, Ella, how's that project coming along there?
Anne Marie and Scott, they just finished that excavation portion of this project, like you said, where they found more than 1,700 grave shafts. And that is because where they are building this bridge is on an old cemetery, nearly 2 centuries old. So it actually started in 1821, where people started to bury others here in the Green Lawn Cemetery off Kentucky Avenue and Henry Street. So the city only excavated the area where they need to build the road for the bridge. An anthropologist on the team says so far the remains show people of all ages, including infants. They also say that both black and white people were buried in the cemetery, and there were no evidence of the cemetery being segregated. They also plan to rebury all the bodies they found, along with the artifacts people were buried with, like shoes and jewelry and other mementos. So they just don't know where that will be yet. Eunice Trotter is a part of the community advisory group for the project. She says it's important to preserve this part of Indianapolis history.
This is Hoosier history. This is our earliest history. This is pioneer history. When you don't know that history, there is going to be an issue in your community.
So the bridge will connect the near west side with downtown, and the city says they plan to finish the project for this bridge at the end of 2026. They also plan to do some sort of memoriam for the cemetery. They're just not sure what that will be yet, and the community advisory group on this definitely wants to have community input on the project. Anne-Marie and Scott.
All right, Ella Rhodes downtown for us. Thanks so much. And NDOT just announced plans to reopen the Hannah Avenue Bridge next week. The closure was part of the I-65 safety and efficiency project.
Crews have been making drainage improvements, adding new signage, reconstructing the ramps, and working on new inside lanes of I-65. The Hannah Avenue Bridge is expected to open Monday night.
Still ahead on this Thursday evening, Congress passed a funding bill to end the ongoing government shutdown, but a piece of that legislation could hit one Indiana industry especially hard. So tonight, we're investigating the toll it could take on thousands of Hoosier jobs.
I think the biggest thing about getting these low-dose CT scans is if we catch stuff that's early, stage 1 lung cancers, their survival rate is much, much better than any other stage.
And that's a big improvement because lung cancer is the top cancer killer here in the state of Indiana for men and women. Ahead, how you can get access to an effective and way underutilized screening.